Today's October 31st, 2023. It's the last day of October. There will be just 2 more months into this year. Today, I traded Meta, but the drawdown was significant, and that could have easily expanded into a heavy loss. And so that meant that my timing was incorrect. However, what I saw was a range bound situation where the stock was toggling between 300 and somewhere around 302. And last night I didn't get any sleep at all. And the reason I didn't get any sleep was because when I was at work, there's a free soda that I can drink, and I drank a lot of caffeine, and the sugar for October made it difficult to get any sleep at all last night. And so now what I will do is one of the interesting thing that I noticed about day trading, now that I had a intro to this whole thing, is what I've noticed about what the professionals talked about are starting to click together. What I noticed about day trading is that it corresponds with 1,000 videos that I created and posted on YouTube. I have over 1,000 YouTube videos of myself progressing through this thing called day trading. And what I've noticed about day trading is that there's a book called there's this guy named Mike Bellafiore of S&B Capital, and he created this video called One Good Trade. And what I noticed about day trading is the fact that I traded on volume instead of trading one or onesies or twosies, and make sure that I have the trades right. Okay? What counts is making the right trade. Make the right trade, and then once I make the right trades, become consistent with the trades, and once I become consistent with the trade, then I can look forward to repeating the trades over and over again. But until the trade is done right, the best thing to do is trade lightly. Make sure ones or twos. That's the most important part about day trading. And I sent a text message to a trading buddy of mine. I told him, look, there's a big picture. There's essentially a big picture to trading. The big picture to trading is essentially the big picture to day trading, which I have neglected to essentially understand is essentially the big picture is this. I've dragged on to this topic in trading, and what the most important thing is, it's not the quantity of trades that I make, it is the quality of the trades I make. And when I make the quality trades, then once I am successful in making the quality trade in the trades that I make, then as time progresses, what I can do is repeat that quality of trade. And what happens is it'll become a lot easier to make the same trades. Okay? So I have to make the right trades by looking at the confluences, by looking at the daily time frame to see how it fits in. Then I have to look at the indexes where this particular stock belongs to and see how it behaves. And then I have to look at the stock and see how the stock is behaving in relation to, there are all sorts of tools like Fibonacci's and all that stuff, right? And so I can look at that, but what I can look is looking at the previous day's highs, previous day's lows, open levels, and previous day's close levels, and things like that. And once I have those things all relatable, which are relatable to my trades, then I can make the trade. Once I make the trade, then I have to set the stop limit. Once the stop limit is set, then I can go ahead and manage my trade. Okay? Once I manage my trade and the trade is over, then I can say to myself, okay, I made this trade based on this particular setup, and I traded it based on this risk to reward ratio, and did I follow through in the trade? That defines the quality of the trade. That is the big picture. That is the big picture of day trading. As with anything else, like riding a bicycle, and I've mentioned this, but I wasn't able to clearly define what the professionals were talking about. Professionals were talking about this really, the big picture perspective of what trading is, and somebody sold a book on it, right? So essentially, and people, maybe because I haven't read too many books, all right, the idea, the main idea, the big picture of day trading and becoming good at day trading, like other people who've already become good, is to when starting to learn, this is the big picture. The big picture of day trading is make the right trade, however long it takes. Then, once that trade is perfected, all I have to do is repeat it. When I repeat it, I become more fluent in the language that I speak with the market. And when I become fluent, then I become faster and I become more aware of that particular situation. So when I go into a new room, there's a lot of stuff in there. It takes everything is new when I go into a new room. Just that's exactly what a new trade is. And then when I am aware of what's in what certain locations, then I can see what's there. Then when I repeat that the next day, it becomes more familiar. And then the actions that I perform in making the trade becomes more familiar. That means that when I look at something, it is easier for me to understand, and then I repeat that, and I repeat that, and I repeat that until I become faster, more accurate. That's why I was wondering why. See, I've been watching a lot of S&P Capital. Mike Bellafiore was talking about this, and he says this. He mentions that in his book too. I think I read one of his books, and he mentions this. He says he prefers someone who has a high level of competitive participation in either college or in some sort of work, that they have achieved a level of very, very high level of understanding and accuracy. And one of them is being a college athlete. College athlete. It's very competitive. It's not easy. It's somebody who's in. So what he's talking. So now I understand. See, I didn't understand what he was talking about. Now I understand what he's talking about when he says he prefers somebody who has a college level, high level of achievements. What that means is that in order for the individual to become really good at something, they know the process of getting there. They know it. They know the process of getting to that point. So it requires proper nourishment, lots of practice, and even a particular swing. In particular, he's a pitcher apparently, and so he says this. He mentions this. He says one little change will change the fastball 5 miles per hour. apparently somebody who throws the fastest fastball, but if based on the coaching, he's able to make a small change and also make it 5 miles per hour faster with a high fastball pitch. That's a significant achievement. So that is directly relatable to day trading, because a small change that I do will make a dramatic difference in the way that I trade. And so this is a big picture perspective of day trading. Big picture day trading is this. And people say, okay, trade small, trade this, do this, right? So I sent an email to a former manager of mine, and I told him, maybe I should just code it with VBA, the sequence of steps that I require in order to make the trades. And I thought to myself, I started thinking, and I started to write, okay, I've forgotten how to code. It's been a while. It's been a while since I coded, so I forgot how to code. And then I did a little search on the internet about the syntax for the VBA and things like that. And one of the statements that I can use is called debug.print space and then open quote and close quote. So anything in there represents a print statement. And so as I was stepping through the process, sequential steps in order to create this trade, I thought to myself, okay, so I'm coding now. I'm coding a software that will automatically trade for me based on whatever the setup it recognizes, and then it'll make the right trades, but it's going to do it in a sequential manner based on certain trigger events that occurs. One of them is the primary one is, what is the setup? Okay, and what is the setup, and what am I willing to lose. So those are the things that we'll do in unison. As soon as I get in the next line of code will be what am I willing to lose for that trade. And then what will I do as a trade management, and then that will get me out of the trade. So as I started to think about that, I thought to myself, okay, so what are the things that I would use in order to make the decision of that trade? And one of the things that I thought about was looking at the indices, which is a reflection of the stock belonging to that index. And that generally, in most cases, the stock follows what the indices does, okay? Except in certain situations where it has its own news that causes the movements to be different from what the overall index is doing. And so that would be the first thing that I would look at. And I would also, I have to find some correlation to see what is the impact of other confluences in my trade, and so I can gauge how important it is whatever that confluence is. And the other confluences that I've noticed is that there are levels, previous day levels, the days open, VWAP. These are things that are respected in certain situations, and certain situations it's not. Okay, but in certain situations where it respects it, it really does respect it. Okay, so these are the things that I have to define. Then the next one would be, okay, what is the setup? Okay, sure, it's right near what the VWAP is, but what kind of setup is it? Okay, what is the setup doing? Is it bouncing off? Is it creating a rounding effect? Is it below or above? So these are the things that I need to look at before a trade is made. This is something that I was not aware of. In the past, what I would try to do is just make money as possible, make as much money as possible, risk it all, and get it going. Now, this is what I call the big picture. This is the big picture. The big picture is one good trade, however long it takes. After that one good trade is made, then once I prove it out, then I can repeat it and do it faster and faster and faster and faster. That's the big picture.